Welcome to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-County. I'm Aaron Quillan. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Today, we have some friends and neighbors from Calhoun County, Travis and Dylan Kamp. Guys, thanks for coming out.
Hey,
no
problem.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just awesome to be surrounded by these big buck killers, these legends that I hear of. Man, I don't know how we got to know each other, but I feel like it kind of became like a friendship when we killed that buck out on the ridge there.
Yeah.
And Dylan, you came out to the lodge.
Derek actually did.
Oh, yeah. It was your other brother. Yeah, that's right.
Brother,
Yeah, Derek did. So it just happened. What was the story on that deer? He said something like it came by all of you or something like that?
It was quite the story, honestly. It's like, so we already had a buck harvested.
Okay.
And next thing you know, we're out hunting. And
No, it started with we knew that he was in that area, so our cell cameras went off, and he was in there. So we're like,
he was actually hunting on the farm that day.
I don't think I was.
You was hunting on the farm. I said, "Hey, dude, there's a stud on the 40 right now," and you was sitting in your truck about ready to go out.
Oh,
yeah. And he went out to the backside of the ridge, and didn't show up. So we're like, and it's just, I don't know. I feel like on a scrape, a main scrape hub. If it's raining,
Yeah.
they're just going to want to hit that as soon as they can again to freshen that scrape up of theirs.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we better get in there as soon as we can. We don't want this deer to leave the property. And so we all went gung-ho on, a little 40 acres to try to get this thing. And Derek, we set him on the spot where, we had pictures of him at. And it was just kind of bad luck.
for him.
For him, yeah. I mean, it was just...
We set him up in a good spot. Since we killed deer, we're like, Derek, you get it. This is where he's going to be. There's a scrape line. And you set up there, he's going to be there. It's like, it's not to make you feel uncomfortable, but he's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And lo and behold, he showed up. I mean, it was breaking daylight.
Yeah, he didn't take the time to, range before, it was like, just getting kind of daylight where you can kind of see through your rangefinder, to kind of pick out everything to where, if it's game time's going, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And he kind of made that mistake. And sure enough, he showed up at 20 yards.
He's close.
He got nervous, missed the first shot.
Oh.
He come back around, and so we kind of set him up in a saddle. But I hunt out of a saddle, but it was like a weird tree to hunt out of, so I kind of set him up out of that because it was kind of just a little, you're hunting 10 feet off the ground.
Okay.
In this spot. And so I kind of gave him a rope, hung it around the tree, set him up around his harness.
Yeah.
And I guess whenever he drew back the second time, his rope went in between his freaking string and his cam. And when he shot at 10 yards at that time,
I got even closer to him.
It jumped. So it went right over his back. And it was, after that, it was kind of...
String flew off his bow after that. So he was done. All he had to do was sit there and look at the deer then.
Yeah.
Was that on the same day?
Yeah, all same morning still.
That was the same morning. And then
you heard him up there say something.
I heard him yelling above me. I'm like, texting him, dude, be quiet. And so he's like, I'm going to get out of here. I need to go to the bow shop and get my bow fixed. So at that time, or later on.
We hung in there a little bit longer.
We hung in there a little bit. And so it was 11:30, getting pretty close to noon. And we were texting back and forth. They're like, dude, I'm hungry. He's like, I need to go let my dog out. Then I'm going to jump back in the stand. And so we were like, all right, we'll hop down. I'm kind of got a bow. I get down, got a bow or an arrow knocked, and I'm just kind of creeping up because, it's real. Ground's wet. It's real quiet.
Yeah.
Figured anything could happen,
Oh, it was prime time. It was second week in November.
Yeah. So I'm just creeping up the hill, and I see this body behind this honeysuckle. Or the head behind the honeysuckle, but I seen a giant body outside the honeysuckle. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know what this is, but it looked big, big body.
Yeah.
And so
you and Derek are only 100 yards apart, if that. So
know. Derek's already gone.
I know, but I'm saying for that deer, he just went into this little piece of thicket.
Yeah. So I just, kind of just peek my head around this honeysuckle, and sure enough, I see just rack, and then he sees me and just bolts. And I'm like, gosh, dang it. Like, what's the chances of that,
Yeah.
After, I figured Derek just scared him off the farm.
Yeah.
I'm down there packing up my book bag in the tree, putting my stuff in there, and then I kind of look up because I'm down in like a ravine where the hills kind of come down, and I'm kind of up on the edge of it a little bit to where, I was thinking I was in a pretty good spot for where the deer normally come. And so I kind of look up the hill, and I just see this wide rack down the hill. I'm like, God, I feel like I'm on the Drury outdoors right now or something, you know what I mean? So then I'm like, I'm thinking he's coming this way, and he doesn't. He crosses this ditch, and right behind my tree, 5 yards behind my tree, he cuts and goes left. So then I'm in the tree kind of like this, draw back, and by the time I get back there, I see him. He's 5 feet from my tree. He's already looking at me. I'm like, crap. So as I'm pulling the trigger, he takes the run, and I just take the hair right off of his back leg.
Oh my God.
And then he was gone.
Yeah. Never seen another picture. Never knew he was on the farm. And I think you guys must have killed him like within the next day or so.
It was close to probably a week later after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we seen your picture
We're like,
pop up.
There he
like,
is.
Oh my gosh, you guys! At least somebody got him, locally, around the area, because we had no idea what happened to him,
So, that was a new farm for us that year, right?
Yeah.
It was our first year on the farm,
Yeah.
and historically the crops on that farm were always out super late, so we didn't really have a lot of access into the farm until the crops came out.
Yeah.
And it being a new farm, first thing I did is I had Bub, a friend of mine, was guiding with us, said, drive around that farm, find the sign. And he came back and, hey, go hang a stand anywhere, you think. And he went back into that, tucked back like grass field back there on the edge. And then, probably, we hunted a little bit, based off the wind and stuff. We didn't shoot anything. And then another one of the guides, Drew, same thing. Get a stand out there, where you see fit. And he went and he hung kind of like behind that field where there's like an old log road up there on the north side.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting and we hunted it based off the wind. He wanted a northeast wind there, I think, and it just wasn't happening. I'm sitting back going, all right, I got 2 guides that chose, stand locations 100 yards apart tops. Mm-hmm. I'm like, something's going on in this area. You don't need to look at it to know something's going on where this is favorable. I'm like, we're missing it on the wind or something. So we literally went in there and hunted it on a southeast wind. And I think that's how it worked. I think it was, we were hunting it on a northeast, and then we switched to a southeast. So we were hunting it on a southeast, and we switched to a northeast. And lo and behold, that buck came out, and he whacked it.
Yeah.
And this dude, Pat, he's a professional shooter. So he's going to make a good shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He killed it.
Yeah.
Knocked it down. That night, or when we went to recover after dark, I don't know if one of y'all saw it. It would have had been on Snapchat or like Instagram or Facebook, but it would have been like a story.
It was before we waited. It was a few days. I thought it was like a day. It must have been that night or something. I don't know. You put something on Instagram with the guy's deer or something.
Okay, well, it had to have been that night because all of a sudden I get a call from your brother and he's like, "Hey, I want to see that deer."
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, he's at the lodge cutting it up with the guys, having a great time. Hand him a beer and we're kind of celebrating that deer, and that is kind of where it all kind of started.
Oh yeah.
So, I knew about you guys, and again, you guys are pretty successful deer hunters. So
appreciate it.
Gotta stay after it. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
We have bad days too.
I hear that.
Bad years.
I hear that. So you guys hunt, on some family places and then some public ground as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier you like to do some saddle hunting.
Yeah. Yeah. Love the saddle hunting, man.
Okay.
Love it.
It's kind of what we're into. We don't really we have a few stationary stands, but 95% of the time we're grabbing our gear and we're moving every day. Different spot, usually same areas but different trees. We don't like to sit in the same spot too long because, as you know, deer kind of educated deer will kind of pick you off after a few years or whatever.
Yeah.
So we just moved all
Like
the
that
time.
element of surprise, you know. I mean, it's just
That's what we lean most of our success to is the element of surprise, honestly, because they never really know where you're at all the time.
just so many times I feel like, you know, whenever
Well, when we were kids, you notice like a deer.
that doe just
you
comes
hunt that
right up to the
stand.
stand and she just looks straight up. It's like,
Yep, well, you got me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many different, I'm starting to call them superstitions.
Yeah.
Right? Because you think one thing's one way and then you find out it's another.
Yeah.
You know, a huge example of that is, you know, one, that deer, we hunted it probably 2 or 3 times with, we'll just call it a southeast wind or a northeast wind. And then we just hit the kind of the same east, but from the other side, and boom, it happened. So we're, you know, having limited knowledge. But the other, like, one thing that comes to mind when we talk about superstitions is, have you guys noticed how when it's really dry and these deer can't smell, how much more you can get away with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
oh yeah.
You get a little moisture in there, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like gets on their nose a lot better. They can.
Some days I've noticed too, whenever it's like really, really cold out, you know, and then it warms up real fast. I don't know. I've noticed too on days like that where I've gotten away with almost murder out there. You know, it's like pretty crazy.
Yeah. As we were talking before this, I think we all probably watched way too much YouTube and like deer podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But somebody's been, maybe it was the deer collar study. They were saying that the warm up after really cold consecutive days is also big time deer movement.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you always think, oh, it's freezing cold, they have to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might be better off waiting for that warm day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Makes sense. Trying to stay warm too.
Yeah. All right. So how'd you get into the saddle deal? What?
I don't really. I guess I got to take credit to the hunting public, I guess, for that. Whenever I was kind of big into watching them, but I mean, just like, you know what, I want to try something different, you know. And,
Well, no, tell how it went first. I wasn't into it yet. He was the one talking about it all the time. He's like, man, we ought to do this run and gun stuff, and I was like, yeah, all right, well, maybe we will. He's like, well, the Quisto gear, Lone Wolf stuff, they come out with this new stand and stuff. I'm like, okay. He's like, you know, so I got the 1.0, I think is what it is, and the sticks and all that. You know, it was the thing there for a few years or whatever. And he said he's going to get one. And I was like, all right, I'll get into it. So I bought it first. It cost me like $1,100, $1,000 for this set, this run and gun stuff. And then this guy decides, he's like, well, I ain't gonna spend that much money. So he doesn't do it. And then would you buy a saddle setup or something?
Yeah, the tethered setup. It was like their first saddle they came out with, and then I can't remember what platform I went with, but I mean, I think I ended up spending like, I don't know, $600 overall with the whole everything, you know. Yeah. But I don't know. The run and gun setup is just pretty fun. I mean, the saddle, I feel like I can, you know, hunt with my back towards, you know, my downwind side, and, you know, just use that tree in my face, you know, and use that to my advantage to kind of hide behind, you know. I feel like that has just helped me out tremendously.
It's more of an everyday game too. It's not like, well, I'm gonna put my stand here this summer, and then this is where I'm gonna move them all to, and this is where I'm gonna hunt this winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more of an everyday game. You're gonna wake up and be like, no, I need to be over here a little more because that wind's cutting just a little bit to the edge, so I'm gonna come back a little more. It's just like I feel like you got more of an advantage. You can mess around a little more.
Yeah.
Okay. And from what I've gathered, because I'm kind of late to the party on the saddles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with setting tree stands and having clientele come in, you got to have the tree stand set, and it's usually, you know, for somebody that doesn't feel comfortable in a lock on, we got ladders, and you know, we try and you know, manage that.
Yeah.
And you know, what I've historically told people is, you know, if we're going to make an adjustment and you have a climber that you like to use, that often is the most convenient.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of tried to make it to where they'd bring the equipment down, you know, if they're a
Repeating customer and coming quite a bit.
yeah, or you know, if they're a climber hunter,
Like an ad.
you'll find out real quick. Yeah,
you know.
If they're in shape, you know, if they're able to, you know, successfully. If some guys come down and their climber's a piece of junk, and you're like, oh no, we're gonna go hang you a stand.
Yeah.
But I got to the point where it was like, okay, so we're using climbers from time to time, it's the easiest way to make an adjustment. I started to think, these saddles, you're strapped to the tree at all times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That might actually be a safer,
I would say you're 100% safer. I mean, just as safe, if not safer, because you're completely strapped to the tree. But I will say it takes a little bit of time to get used to shooting out of. So I wouldn't say like definitely want to practice a little bit before you just go, hey, I'm going to hunt out of a saddle, tonight. You know, definitely want to take some target practice before you do that, or just get a comfortable swinging around a tree. Because I mean, if you take one step, you're going to swing across that tree and scare the crap out of you.
It can be frustrating because there's days where you get out there early in the morning and you got to fight with trying to get your light and kind of see what you want when you want to hang your sticks, and sometimes it makes you want to go home and punch your pillow. But you gotta fight through that stress.
Well, that's what I've started to say. If we need to make an adjustment, and you're a climber hunter or a saddle hunter, go ahead and bring it down, and that way we can kind of inspect the equipment, go in there, help them get set up, and they're in something that they're used to, rather than trying to, go out, put up a ladder, put up a lock on it. It's just more time, more scent. And the thing that I've learned is that you want a different type of tree for a saddle than you do a tree stand.
You don't really get away with, like, our equipment. It's a little bit harder to get in a bigger, I mean, you can't really get in a big old tree. I mean, if you have a hard time wrapping your arms around it, and
it's gonna be more of a pain in the butt to try to hunt.
You can't get in. So you got to pick smaller trees, unless you get a bit different straps for your equipment, But I mean, I feel like you could just get away with just as much stuff in a small tree as you
they're
can.
not used to you being there every day either.
So it's just, I don't know.
You're on the back side of it most often.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the other thing that I thought was pretty neat is it seems like when you get up to your height that you're going to hunt from, if the tree has a crick or a lean in it.
Those are comfy trees.
Yes. So you now have something that kind of you lean with. So do you want the tree to kind of lean over you or away from you in that situation?
I mean, I don't have a problem with any. I like whichever way. It's not so much if you're, at the point where it's hanging off to the left or the right. I mean, I'd rather have one that's kind of coming back at me. It kind of depends on how you set up on the tree, what trails, where you think a deer's going to come from. Okay. But I mean, just that aspect of using that tree to hide behind and try to play that game with the deer, if it's coming from that side of the tree, is, I don't know, that's pretty fun. Fun to do and get away with a lot, It's
becoming more and more popular.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Every year. Well, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from the sponsors. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-County. I'm Aaron Quillan. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. With us again, we have Travis and Dylan Kamp, a couple of big buck legends over in Pike County, Missouri. We're not going to give away their local spots. So we were talking a little bit about setups with regard to hunting in the saddles and how your hunting has kind of changed. What are some of the things that you guys are looking for when you're going out trying to dictate, all right, this is where I want to, how do you kind of walk us into where are these breadcrumbs that, the first ones that you start picking up on? And if you guys don't mind, kind of walk us how Team Kamp does this stuff.
Well, the hidden secret is to just get out there just when the season's over with. That's when you see all the action. That's when you see where you should have been. A lot of the times you're like, God, did you see that car hood scrape? Why were we not over there? I didn't realize they were using that place like that. I feel
like that's where we pick up a lot of our inventory is for years to come, and it's just, I think that's the most important tool is just walking around there. Even late season, if you're tagged out, whatever, get out there in the woods. I mean, it's just, you can learn so much. I think props to the Onyx apps. That helps out too, of like being able to have that in your pocket and be like, drop a pin right there, like, hey, big sign here. Mm-hmm. Even the tracking device on that is super awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
But
A small example is one of our public grounds we like to hunt is I usually have a camera in this one spot where there's usually a pretty big scrape, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, we'll go in there. I'll get my camera this year. It was later. It was probably February or something. And I'm walking long ways to it. And I come up on a different scrape about 150 yards from where I usually set up and hunt. And this scrape was bigger than this table. I was just like, well, that's where I'm putting my camera that's coming up here. Obviously I was getting some of the bucks that were hitting those scrapes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all of them. Like, that are smoking that one.
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe I need to set myself down a little farther, and because it's so thick in there that you can't hunt and see them deer like that.
Yeah.
They're sliding in and out of there on you.
And trying to pick, the best access point to get to that, depending on which wind you want to hunt that spot, picking multiple access points, to get to that spot is pretty key, I think, too.
It's always hard, though, because a lot of guys say that, too, and it's like, we don't know where that deer's hiding at today. When you're sliding in there.
Totally,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
You just do the best judgment you think you can to put yourself into that opportunity of
best success.
Yeah.
Really.
And a lot of it's trial and error. You don't know until you're actually getting out there and seeing what's going on out in the woods. Thing.
Once you've hunted somewhere for 4 or 5 years, you really start picking up on how those deer entering and walking through that place. Yeah. Then once you got that figured out, then that off-season scouting too, that's all just bonus.
Yeah.
Okay. So the main factor with the off-season scouting, that's the leaves being down and seeing the cattle paths.
Yep.
Cattle
paths, licking branches or big old scrapes, or where they take their does to breed, because in those thickets you'll see all around that all them little satellite bucks are just tearing that up because the big guy had her bedded up in there, and you're like, well, I had to get closer to that area. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, little bucks always stand off distant, and they're always down there tearing up trees and stuff. And you see the big buck up there, and he'll come out here once in a while, tear his tree up too, but he'll go right back up in there in that brush and bed down with her or do whatever, bump on her to get her up. I've seen that a few times while I'm hunting. I was like, dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because all the younger guys are like, I know I'm staying back.
Yeah, that's awesome. That one place, CRP place that we hunt.
Yeah.
Probably 3-4 years ago, had a guy with a crossbow. It was kind of a beginner hunter, and he had a buck, kind of harem some does in there, and he was breeding these does like 10-15 yards away, and it was too many eyeballs. He couldn't.
Yeah.
It was like an offhand shot.
Oh yeah.
He was stuck up there. I always feel bad when somebody comes back and they got a big buck and they couldn't move because it was too close, and they had to. Just because they have to sit there frozen for so long.
Yeah.
You can't even clear your throat. You're like,
you're just trying to act like a mouse up there,
Yeah, he was talking about kind of that, and that's as you're talking about like a breeding area.
Yeah.
That's what comes to mind, and then to think about, you're in there in the late season, you're kind of like just imagining, what went on in there, and the satellite bucks and they're rubbing, and just I've never put that story together. That's pretty cool.
It's just kind of a few things I've seen with them, and that's why I was like, well, because I do that too. There's times I've learned like, why is there so many rubs out here around all this stuff, and until I've seen it a few times, I was like, that's what these guys are doing. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I don't know, and I guess I really think that's whenever she's really close. That's when she's really close to coming in. So that's whenever that buck's got her pinned down pretty hard, and then them guys are, because I feel like if they're not quite ready, that some of them I don't really know, but you see them buffed in there sometimes, and then that's when they take off running through the woods and everything like that, going crazy.
Yeah.
But I think if she's really close, that buck stands over her pretty hard, and that's when the mother bucks kind of, I don't know, they try their luck sometimes, I guess, but
I had a hunt one time. It was late October. I call it the pre-rut buck meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on one of these farms off of 96 we used to hunt, and I had a food plot, and I got up there pretty early, and first thing, there's a buck out there, probably a 3-year-old decent buck, and then next thing you know, another buck comes out, and they're feeding in the food plot, and then here comes one that we call Brahma bull, like Brahma because he looked like a Brahma bull.
Yeah.
And he went under my food plot fence rather than jump over it.
Really?
Because the old toad. And then the next thing you know, it's like too early for this to be happening. It's loaded with bucks, like a dozen bucks, no does. And all of a sudden, a couple of them started like looking at each other. And I think they were outside the food plot, kind of in the pasture area. And then some of them that were in the food plot must have heard some vocalizations, and they look up and they hop out. I'm telling you, like 8 bucks got in a circle staring at each other, stomping the ground. I mean, I'm 200 yards away just watching this.
Yeah.
And it's like going around and one's saying, I'm the man. And then the next one's going, no, I'm the man. And then the biggest buck I might have ever seen in my life, it looked like it had a horse rib cage on its head, came out of the woods and ran on the inside of this circle of bucks, and it addressed each buck and like stomped at it, and each buck cowered down to it, and it did the circle, and they all cowered down to it, and he went back in the woods. And then they're all kind of standing around there going, well, I guess I'm not the man. Well, the next thing you know, I got this doe coming right under my stand. And I'm thinking, no, if you're a female, you do not want to be in this field right now. The next thing you know, she comes out. These other deer see her, and absolute pandemonium broke loose. It was one of the wildest hunts I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And I call it the pre-rut buck meeting because I don't know what else it was. I've never seen deer form a circle and literally it was about to be a royal rumble.
Yeah.
Until that big buck came out and scared every single one of them into, like, if something goes down, it's
I'll be
me.
the first one.
Yeah. So.
It's
they're
crazy
wild.
stuff you see out there. I mean, it's just, I don't think people take for granted the experiences you get to
Witness and take in.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much cool things that you see out there. I mean, it's just so many different personalities in the deer. It's like a buck you killed from last year is totally different from the buck that you may harvest from the next year. It's crazy to learn and see all that.
Let's talk a little bit about that. How do you, so in other times we've talked, you guys are keying in on specific deer a lot of the time. How do you keep track of them all?
I mean, here recently, it's just usually been like 1 or 2 that kind of intrigue you a little bit. But I mean, there's been, some years where you may not have, a giant on the farm, but it's a big mature deer, that we got on the farm. And it's like, that just tickles us just enough to kill, the biggest and oldest guy in the woods, We
work really good together too. Like if we only have 2 big bucks that we really want to kill, all of us, we're not greedy about it to each other. We're all just wanting to get that thing laying on the ground so we can get our hands on them.
Because we're big. All 3 of us are each other's biggest cheerleaders. Like, he kills his big one the one year, and I mean, I was just freaking stoked at work. I mean, I was like, I'm ready to go home, Right. And the first person, we're calling is each other, or Derek, we're all calling each other, like, just pumped,
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, it's pretty special to be able to share that, all together. But
we kind of find our few that we want, and the one that gives us the most, the most encounters or the most pictures or the most that we feel that we have him beat. That's whenever we kind of get after him, and a lot of times it pays off. But we have a few we've tried to play with, and they beat us. I mean, we've got that big 8 that we can't get an encounter. We've had a few 150-yard encounters with him, but we cannot close the distance on this deer. It's something we got to figure him out, I guess, yet. But he's, like I said,
every deer's got his own personality. It's like this one's showing up on camera, or this one just may show up out of the blue. It's like the mind of a whitetail is amazing. Of like how
Personalities like humans in a weird way. Like
Absolutely.
you got some aggressive ones, some that don't want to be messed with.
absolutely, like,
Yeah.
you may snort and wheeze at one,
best
and
tool in
he
the
may
woods.
take off. You may snort and wheeze at the next one, and he's like ready to just come in there and just beat the hell out of you. You know, it's just it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
That's
yeah.
probably our secret medicine too, is that snort and wheeze.
Okay.
Oh my God, that has killed probably most of our deer.
Okay.
Once you know he's a dominant buck and he's out there rolling it, you're like, all right, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
just- you throw that
or
quick
like
at
a
him.
long drawn out, like I've always heard like a long drawn out grunt. It's like a breeding grunt.
Yeah.
And I've always done that first, just to be like, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah.
And then if he doesn't
that
want to
don't
come
work,
in,
you-
you just hit that snort and wheeze, and it's like a freaking. I'd say 9 times out of 10, you'll get one just beeline in on you, you know, ready to tear something up. I mean, I've had one that just dropped the turnip out of his mouth and just the other way.
took off
But
running.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just never know until you try. I'm going to try it, no matter what.
Once you build
Yeah.
up your information on the deer, like that day, we know not to snort and wheeze at him.
Yeah.
Because he did not like it. I did it to him last year, trying to get him to come to me, and he all he did is he looked down at me for a little while, and then he bolted. I was like, all right. He wasn't about it. So
Okay.
it's like the personality thing's crazy on them things. You got to kind of figure them out a little bit before.
Yeah, I mean,
Or if he's had his butt kicked, he ain't coming to a snort and wheeze probably.
yeah, he
Right.
wanted his butt kicked again, you know.
Now, do you guys use like that grunt tube that you snort wheeze with, or you just do it straight from
Straight
your
out of the
mouth?
mouth,
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You always try to get it away from you, or
Yeah.
you know where your wind's not going to give him the favor, so he can try to circle your downwind side or something. Just try to get it.
Because they
Get
can
it off.
pinpoint it down pretty good. I mean, with the grunt or the snort and wheeze. So we always try to just do the grunt or the snort and wheeze.
Okay.
Like, downside of the tree, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
whatever works out,
we
works
don't
out.
we don't have a lot of gimmicks. We don't get into the sales pitch with all the stuff they try to sell anymore
Right.
out there anymore. Just man, you don't need it honestly.
Yeah.
You
just hunt.
Right. Now, do you do anything where you want the buck like looking the other way or ears kind of facing the other way before you snort wheeze?
yeah.
or-
If he's got you, if he's got your attention, don't
Oh
mess with him.
yeah, I don't. If he's looking my direction, I won't do anything until he's got his head turned or got his attention towards another deer in the field, or you know, just looking somewhere else before you try to do that. Because if you do that, you might as well.
Well, he's gonna look right in your eyes at the tree.
Yeah,
Right.
he's gonna look
I got
into
you.
your soul. So like,
Right.
don't want to be looking into that guy's soul because he's gonna get you.
Okay. Yeah, we had a hunter that had just gotten back from Africa, and he was telling us about he was bow hunting in Africa, and they've got whatever deer species or antelope species, the small ones, that are
Yeah,
like super
gazelle
fast.
or
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not that
Yeah.
familiar with all the.
I'm not
there's
either. That was
ton
just
of
a
'em.
long guess.
But there was this animal that they instructed him, don't shoot until the deer is looking away from you. That the actual turn of that deer's head slowed him down just enough that he can't duck your arrow as well.
Ah,
Okay.
It was a quick little son of a gun.
yeah.
So I've always thought about that, before I call. I always try and make sure that the deer's,
Occupied.
preoccupied.
Yeah,
Yep, exactly.
absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes you lose your window.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys do any blind calling, blind grunts, anything
Oh,
like
yeah.
that?
It'll
Every now and then, I mean, whenever it's like nothing's working, so I'll just try to do something.
be more like a grunt, if anything.
Yeah, which I think, in another hand, with doing the running gun setups, I mean, to tell you the truth, I think that attracts more deer than anything. Whenever you're, trying to set, I've had multiple times when
Come
you're
in
just
on you when you're trying to set
up.
Yeah,
It's like you're making all that noise. Like
coming to
people are
check
so
you out.
worried about making noise and everything else. It's like, I don't know. I think that. I mean, not that I'm purposely up there just shaking the heck of a tree limb, but
Right.
I don't know. I've had multiple times where you're setting up
when
and
we're setting up, we've got to use our saw, and we've got to.
yeah.
But when you drop that leaves and them limbs and stuff, sometimes
Like they
I think
think
it's
of
making that
deers
noise,
making
where
a scrape, or just playing around in the woods, or maybe even a doe getting chased. It's
it
like
could be just ironic timing, but it just happens
could be
quite
too,
a bit.
but it's just kind of crazy how that works.
Yeah. When I was way younger and way dumber, I had this idea. I don't remember what the situation was, but I decided I was going to sprint to my stand.
Yeah.
And it must have been enough of a path, but I literally ran to my stand and got up it real quick. Within minutes, I had deer around me.
Yeah.
Like a chase. They probably heard the leaves and thought there was a chase going on or something, maybe.
Yeah. What I didn't want to do is I didn't want to sound like a human going in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I decided to run to my stand in the dark, which is dumb.
Have a good light going in.
Worked. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I remember one morning, it was like completely just no wind at all. And I think it was going back to like, I feel like the mornings where it's like super, super cold, and then it gets, as the day warms up, it gets good, which maybe that had to help too. But I mean, it was quiet. I was going in this long ridge, and I mean, it was so dry. I mean, it was like, oh, it was so crunchy going in there, and I'm just scaring deer everywhere. I get in there, I'm like, I'm not going to see a damn deer this morning.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be like, I mean, probably one of the best hunts I've ever had. I mean, I seen probably 25, 30 deer that morning. I mean, obviously no shooters or anything, but I mean, a few good bucks, but I mean, it was still, you just never know. I mean,
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
That
I mean,
time of year. That time of year plays a lot. Them deer are moving, they're rutting. You know, it's hard to really bust them out.
yeah, I mean, when it just comes down to it, I mean, I feel like you just
Get
in there and get after it.
Yeah.
I mean, because like there's multiple times crazy stories about him harvesting his deer. Like he's hunting, or even a few of my hunts, like the wind, you're just like
Cutting knives with that thing.
with the thing in the deer, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like this ain't ever gonna work. But when it does work, you're like, damn,
Right.
this freaking worked.
Right. Yeah.
It's I don't know. I mean, there's like his big one he shot a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Tell the story of that one. I mean,
that was a shameful story.
crazy
but
luck, but
I hunted it. What was like the first
week
of
October. I don't remember, first weekend.
and we
maybe.
thought we had this buck pretty well figured out. So I climbed up in this walnut tree, and you know it's kind of getting worse light. I could see him coming back out of the field 2-bedding, which I don't know how I didn't scare him, because where I walked into this field, I walked all the way through our field, climbed in this walnut on the edge of our field, and he's walking the same route with a couple other younger bucks and some does, and he gets right underneath me. I was like, how did he not? I did not scare him out of the field. I drove my side-by-side, you know, about 300 yards back, got out, walked through here. I didn't push him out of the field, I guess, somehow or whatever. Sat up in this tree. Like I said, he's coming to me, and I get nervous immediately because kind of some does came out here on the other side of me, and they started winding me a little bit, and he kind of stopped. He wasn't very far, probably 30 yards or less. I pulled the trigger on him. I had a walnut right in my sight too, so I ducked down. I'm trying to duck down a little bit in the tree, and I pull the trigger on him, and I shoot low because I wasn't even where I needed to be, and I smoked him right in his forearm, cut his forearm wide open. I didn't know that at the time, but he took off running, kind of stood out in the field a little bit, looking around, and then jogged off. I said, I just screwed it up. I mean, I was so sick, like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But then, we let like 2 weeks go by.
Not even that. It was like a week because it was still like beginning of October when you shot that thing.
Yeah, okay, we let like a
Because
week.
I shot
week or
mine the 13th, and I think you shot yours the 15th or some crap like that. You shot yours the 13th, and then I shot mine the 15th.
Well, he wasn't on our camera in that spot for like 5-6 days. We'll say that, and then boom, he started showing up. I'm like, I'm getting back in there. I got back in there. He did the same exact thing. I came the same way, everything, and then
the wind was even in his favor too.
Yeah, and he come walking right up through there. I spined him, so he dropped. Unfortunately, I spined him, and then he started crawling to me. So I laid another one into him, and then another one. But eventually, let's just say he
Ain't getting away from me. No.
let's just say he passed away after that one, and it was just you know, like
Just
I
a
said,
crazy story. I mean,
and that was early
yeah.
season too. Like the deer should have took that as hey,
You would think, you know, like
a
all right,
5.5-year-old deer. You know what I mean? Should have. You would have thought taken
never
that
going
and
to see him
ran.
again. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
being that early in the season, you know,
And
but
do the same thing
Not
all
the
over
case.
again.
He did the same exact thing. Like nothing happened. I guess he didn't know what got him,
Yeah.
so he just gave it a few days of a break and then routined again.
I tell you what's funny about that story to me is when I see somebody go into the woods with like 2 or 3 arrows, I'm always like, are you sure?
yeah, absolutely.
My quiver was empty. I promise you that.
I've gone out with 5 arrows and then empty quiver by 7:05.
Yeah,
Matt Ballman asked me how many holes I put in that deer because he's our taxidermist.
Yeah.
So I was like,
It's fun though.
it is.
It's
The adrenaline is at an all-time high.
I know, and even it's archery, so bad shots do happen.
Oh, yeah.
We hit deer sometimes when we don't
unfortunate,
want to.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is as cruel as we can possibly be
Yep.
with a bad shot,
Yep.
Mother Nature is 10 times crueler.
It is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So,
And we do our best. Everybody does their best to get it out of its misery or whatnot. So it's not like we're out there trying to put bad shots on these things.
and it's just part of archery. I mean, it doesn't matter. You could have a rifle that shoots 1,000 yards, be shooting 50 and
Yeah.
run into the same thing. It's just kind of part of it.
Yeah.
On the flip side, as hunters, we are the stewards and we are the ones that promote, preservation and population of animals and manage them for health. So,
Yeah.
at least we got that side of the coin, right?
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another break real quick and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoor Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-County. I'm Aaron Quillan. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Legend in the making, Travis, and also legend in the making, Dylan Kamp, Big Buck Hammers, back again. Guys, one of the things I want to touch on is, you guys talked about how you kind of use you use each other's intel to help each other. The three of you brothers, hey, I saw him over here doing this. Maybe we should be here, that type of thing. You kind of play together. And, we kind of do that with the outfit. We had a hunter in here last week. We were seeing Buck at point A. This week he's at point B. We got to stand in between. Maybe we try that type thing, and we try and use that information. But when it comes to like the scouting and again trying to locate these deer as to where their travel corridors are, what are some of the things that you're looking for, even in the late season, the off season, or during the season when you're hunting?
I think a lot of it revolves around, food and traveling to food and from food,
Yeah.
I think that's...
Well, there's two big, or three big season changes really, and obviously early October, you want to be
still around that
on
food.
them field edges and food.
If you got clover, love a nice anything that's got some clover around it.
As soon as you see that combine hit that field, get out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Get
Ag
out
fields.
The dinner
Get
bell.
out there. Yeah.
As soon as they pick that field, you better be hunting there within the first 2 days.
Get out
Because it's like it's fireworks out there. I mean, it's pretty crazy. But I mean, I don't know. As far as like trying to scout and go through and run through a new piece, I think just obviously looking for where the scrapes are at. We like finding scrapes right off the get go.
The bigger thing we've
But
kind of leaned towards now is
thickets-
finding the deer that we want to hunt and figuring out what he's
Yeah.
doing. Kind of trying to figure out what we think he's doing. A lot of times we don't see him, and then one of these days we get lucky. It's finding the deer we're after, kind of, or the one that we would be
It
happy
depends
with
on
killing.
the time of the year. I think is what terrain I think we're hunting. I mean, full rolling rut. We're definitely in the timber for sure.
Yeah.
Hunting long ridges or hunting hillsides where they may be circling a thicket.
Yeah.
Early season though, it's anywhere around food on field edges around scrapes. Late season, it's just I would say strictly just food. If you can hunt over a cornfield somewhere and just maybe observe the field and move in from there of like, hey, these guys are moving over there. We need to hop over there and try to sneak in on them, you know. And I think that's pretty key of like the
Running and gunning.
the running and gunning. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously you could still go out there and hang a setup, you know, but I mean, it's like, are you going to set up like maybe 3 deer stands for each wind, you know? It's like, yeah, it works, and absolutely it'll work. 100% it will. I just feel like I don't know. You got a lot more options to be able to just move around everywhere.
Right.
But like yeah, I would say terrain features.
I like that. I think that's a really good strategy. It's like the hunt before the hunt.
Yeah.
Where you kind of post up. Hey, I'm kind of in the first, spot where I could potentially kill this deer. We know he's coming out here from trail camera or somebody's seen him or whatever. I'm going to set up here. If I kill him, great. But I plan on seeing him.
Yeah.
And then where he comes out, that's where I'm going to try and kill him.
Yeah.
So kind of like that.
Yeah, and that worked. I had one that year, 2 years ago now. I killed my first one. It was like that. We were getting pictures of him on one end of the food plot and on the other end of the food plot, and it's just a bottleneck food plot. And decided to hunt on the edge of it, and the wind was just, kind of scraping at the end of it. Went in there very hungover. Not thinking, I was just like, all right, I'll just go in there, just see what happens. And sure enough, see him at the end of it was CRP, but we had a lot of clover in our CRP, and he just pops up at the end of the field. And I'm like, gosh, dang it, just work your way this way. And grunted a few times.
It's a big wide open field, so the
Wide open
chances
field, so
of
it
it
was
coming that way
that
was
was
probably
pretty slim chances.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just threw a grunt, and he popped his head up. So I knew he heard it, and then just threw a little snort and wheeze in there, just to try to see what would happen. And he just come in, just kind of just taking his time. Came within 20 yards, and it, I don't know, worked out, an observation spot, just something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, trying to hunt your way in there, just trying to see in new areas or whatever, that works out really well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got just a few minutes left, and what really is cool to me about today is we met because we're hunting similar areas, farms that aren't too far from each other, and fortunately we've been on the right side of that, and we choose to get along and celebrate each other's victories.
Yeah.
You can't really choose your neighbors. So what do you think are some of the key things that either we've done to be able to procure this friendship, or that you wish other neighbors were able to do? I think that's so important that we kind of look at it from the aspect of how do we promote? Because if we're fighting, then that just means that the people that don't hunt, we're distracted, not paying attention to people that are trying to take that opportunity away. So, what do you guys think a good neighbor consists of?
First thing I think is obviously you don't want to have conflict. Otherwise, you're taking the enjoyment out of hunting to begin with. So there's no reason to get uneasy about some silly deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're trying to do the same thing. And if that guy, really the only thing people get mad about either way is hunting fence lines, or some guy thinking that he has the right to think about what deer you should kill.
Yeah.
Which it has none of my business to do with what deer you kill. If that guy runs down there and grabs it and it makes him happy,
So be
that's
it,
the end of the day. You know what I mean? As long as he's happy and he walks up on it, nobody should have an opinion on it. So
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I just think people get into it too seriously, and they just need to relax a little bit and say, hey, maybe we're after big deer, and maybe he wasn't. It didn't. That was
Yeah.
We're guilty of it. Just everybody just gets so involved in it, and just I don't know. You just love it so much, you just kind of get a little bit too wrapped into it. You just need to take a step back, and I don't know, just kind of.
Just realize it's for fun. Everybody's out there for fun. You know, everybody's waiting all year long to get after it too. And somebody gets a little bit of a trigger finger, or that might be his deer he wants. So just let him have it. You know what I mean? And there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always more.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all about the fun. You can't. But the fence line thing is, we have had asked a few neighbors if we could move them off the fence line because we wouldn't do it to you. So, just for sakes of
Kind of respect, I guess. You know, it's like,
yeah,
you know, it's. I know it's a property line. You know,
you put one up right there too.
Technically, yeah.
How about we hang in the same tree?
Yeah. What time are you going out? I'll sit below you. I'll sit on my side. You sit on your side of the tree.
Yeah. I think that's important. I think there are certain times where, like, you know, if there's only one setup to ambush and you're trying to kill a particular deer, sometimes you have to, you know, get a little bit closer than you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I think a common courtesy is whenever you're, you know, hanging a stand and you got to think about what the neighbor's perception might be. Yeah. Like if you're hanging a bow stand and they're looking at it thinking you're going to be up there with a, you know, straight wall cartridge or a bush master or something like that, that's probably not a good feeling for anybody. So if I can, if I am in that situation, I always try to face the stand complete 90 to the area and then get in and kill that buck. And if you can, you try and get your stand down because the buck's dead and more than likely won't use that again. But yeah, I think aside from that, you know, we've called each other if we needed access or anything like that, and you know,
it's best to it's like if you harvest a deer, 100% call us, come get that thing. Don't you know what I mean, like that's the most important thing to us is just recover it. Like that's
making it recover because it always sucks whenever you got. One neighbor is very, very particular because I mean we've ran into that.
I almost was able to get my deer last year, but it ended up working out. He was great, and he let me go get it, so it panned out. I knew he was dead. I just needed that extra 200 yards to walk and go get him. You know what I mean, and it happened. So it's just working out. I mean, you're not gonna run the deer off on the neighbor's ground.
Not.
You're just
right.
I mean, I get it. You know, you want to not put as much pressure on a piece, but like just running through it, you know. For a day to recover a deer, you're not hurting anything.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, I mean, I feel like, Travis, when you shot that buck and you called me, I didn't think I could be there right away, but I think I said something like, I'll be available in like an hour. Like I want to see it, you know, like I wanted to be able to celebrate with you.
Yeah.
So, I think that's.
Well, the ironic part was with that, we recovered him. And we had to get back and recover his deer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because you both shot monsters on the same day.
Yeah, we doubled up, which was pretty wild. I mean, that was
a highlight of our forever hunting so far. Like it's the top. That's going to be
special.
Insane.
The only thing that could top it is if we can all three of us knock one down the same night. That would be that'd be awesome. Hopefully that happens one of these days.
Hey, the chances I think are pretty good.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, you guys. Cool. I don't know if you share a horseshoe or if they're.
Right now we're riding a high wave right now, so we'll hopefully it continues
It'll fall
that way.
Eventually, but
it does.
That's
it
the
does,
ups and downs of it.
Yeah,
you gotta keep getting after 'em.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks again. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, we appreciate everything you're doing here. This is pretty neat. You know.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Keep it up. This is awesome.
We'll do for sure. All right, cool.